We were going to put this next story off, but we decided to do it today. According to the Daily Mail, a new study finds procrastinating is linked to depression, poor health, and may even increase your risk of living in poverty.
Joining us on the Kogo News Live line, brain health coach Leigh Richardson. So why do people procrastinate? What is it that makes them do that?
Well, I see a direct link between procrastination and stress. And it's which came first, the chicken or the egg? Did you get stressed out and then procrastinate, or did you procrastinate and then get stressed out? And, when people get overwhelmed, the clients that come to the Brain Performance Center, the ones that procrastinate, they'll always say, I thought about doing it, but it was just such a big project. It overwhelmed me. And my response to that is usually break it down into smaller pieces. Don't let it be so overwhelming. And on the flip side, people will say, I just don't have any motivation. When I think about everything that's going on in my life, I have no motivation. And my response to that is focus on what you can control. You cannot control everything going on in your life.
I wonder if it goes back to when you're a kid, because we all know there are those students, there's two categories of students. Those who get a paper assigned and they do it right away, or they do it, well before the deadline. Then there are those students who are up all night trying to do the paper, right?
Right.
Leigh, I'm going to assume that you were the one who did it days in advance.
I'm going to let you keep that assumption.
Just a feeling that we had. Just a feeling that we had.
I got to tell you, I'm finishing up a PhD program right now, and oftentimes, because I run a business, but oftentimes it's the day of, and nothing's due until midnight. So I do have some flexibility, but it's just because I get distracted just like everybody else does,
right?
Or I can't decide exactly what angle I want to take. And what I've started doing is really having daily goals. And if I think that it should take me 30 minutes to do it, I'm going to double that time. I'm going to knock off an hour on my schedule. Because then when I give myself 30 minutes and I don't make it, then I get frustrated.
Right.
That starts a whole nother negative energy going. So, and I have found that to be fairly successful for me.
So how can we start to train our brains to keep us focused on task, on time, get stuff done?
Well, thank you. Time management is a big part of it. And I think if you get up in the morning and you look at your day and you make a list of everything that you've got to get done, you allocate more time than you think that you will need. And during the day, you do a checkoff. And, prioritize what has to be done today. A lot of times I want to do what's due next Monday because that represents fun to me. And that's not the way I can roll. So I think everybody needs to focus on prioritizing, and schedule blocking is a way to help manage that time, and understanding how much time do you have and making a commitment. Coping strategies. A lot of people, when I ask, do you have any coping strategies? No, I don't. And I go back to the very same thing every time, and that's breathing, because it's hard. And when I'm talking to you, I'm taking between 12 and 14 breaths a minute. I have to spit it all out, but everybody's optimal breath rate is between 4 and 7. And when I slow my breath rate down to 4 or 5, that takes a lot of focus. And when I change my breath rate, I change my heart rate.
All
that
right.
creates wellness.
All right. Brain health coach Leigh Richardson with us here on the Kogo News Live line. Always a pleasure, Leigh. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Leigh.
Thank you for having me.